Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, 7 Ways to Honor the Military and Drive Revenue in 2019. As many as you may know, the military community is drawn to brands that celebrate their service and dedication, and they'll often choose companies with special discounts over companies without them. Thanks for joining us today. We're so happy you're here. In the next 30 minutes, we'll share 7 time-tested strategies to tap into this audience, including why the military is a perfect segment to celebrate, 7 tips for effectively engaging with the military, and how to create an offer that the military community will love. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. We'll be sending out post-webinar communications, which will include both the slides and the recorded presentation. We hope you find the content useful, but if any questions do come up, please feel free to ask them through the chat window. We'll be answering them at the end of this session. Before we get started, I'd like to briefly introduce our speaker today, Bill Schneider. As VP of Marketing at ShareID, Bill helps drive product direction and education of its digital verification platform. Over his 20-year software career, Bill has held key roles with leading software companies in customer analytics, big data, shopper marketing, and mobile engagement. He regularly consults with leading consumer brands, providing best practices on how to build highly personalized communication programs across channels at scale. With that, I'll pass the mic over to Bill.
Thanks, Kelly. And hi, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. As Kelly mentioned, for the next 30 minutes, we're together. I'll spend time in the next 20 to 25 minutes going through our latest best practices that we've assembled on working with dozens of leading retail brands on how to build high-performing campaigns for the military. I'll start by sharing our latest market data, and I'll talk about the size of the military market and their attitudes on promotions and discounts. And then I'll share 7 distilled best practices that we've amassed in working with leading brands that you can take with you into your next campaign. Okay, let's get started. So taking a look at shopping preferences and stats. So you may or may not know, the military is a large and very influential potential customer group. The segment consists of 37 million members, which includes people in active service, veterans, and military dependents. Every year, they spend more than $1 trillion on household goods and other products and have higher than average spending power, which manifests itself in a number of different ways. In addition to typical purchases, they also have or are more likely to travel than the typical American, creating new purchase opportunities. And they are also more likely to move than the typical American, as they typically change their addresses 2 times more than typical as they transition from one duty station to another, providing a number of different buying events. Now, looking at some more details around the numbers breakdown. In addition to active duty, you can increase the impact of your program by 4 to 5 times by expanding or extending your military promotion to veterans, spouses, and dependents, a group of about 20 million people who make up the majority of purchasing decisions. Sometimes we see brands provide a promotion for just active duty or just veterans, and generally we think this is a mistake. It limits your reach, and it can also make the people that have served our country in some of these other groups feel left out. So I wanted to point that out as you consider your program moving forward. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the recent market data that we've amassed in polling the military. So first, we want to take a look at what is the impact of a military promotion. In a recent study, we found that 95% of the military say they are more likely to shop from a retailer that offers a military discount than one that doesn't. In other words, if they have to choose between two retailers, one that offers a discount and one that doesn't, they are going to choose the one that does. Moreover, 94% of military personnel said that they notice when companies are military friendly. They are looking for that support. They're providing that level of dedication and service to our country and really feel valued when it's reciprocated. But as we peered into the numbers, it isn't just about the discount. In fact, 50% of those polled said that they respond to an exclusive military offer because they appreciate the sentiment. And that's a very important fact as you consider how you message and position your program before you launch it. In fact, when we asked why exclusive offers work, people use these types of words to describe how it makes them feel. In short, exclusive offers can equate to an emotional lift to those who receive them. Nearly 1 in 2, 47%, said that receiving an exclusive offer would make them feel excited, while many would feel special or honored to be given the offer. So those are very powerful words, particularly as you consider the impact that these types of offers can provide and the type of behavior and loyalty that they can engender. Another important factor to making your exclusive offer successful is making it available online. I think as we know, we are now in an always-on society, but traditionally, many of these types of offers have just been redeemed in store. So what we found in polling members of the military was that 7 in 10 indicated that they would use a military discount more often if it's online because they're looking for that convenience factor. And in some cases, they're not stationed, they're stationed all over the world. So they want to have that ability to purchase online. And considering that 84% of military spouses said they make most of the purchasing decisions in the house, this other factor, which is correlative, is also very interesting, that 22% of spouses said they shop online at least once a day. So when you compare these two data points, it's really important to make sure that your offer is online because it makes it easier, obviously, and it also is going to reach the people that are in charge of those purchasing decisions. We then asked them, how do they typically find out about military deals? And it wasn't directly from brands through their email or traditional marketing. In fact, instead, it was largely through word of mouth. 76% heard about military-oriented promotions from other members in the military, which makes sense given that when you have something that's exclusive and it's just for a specific group, there's a high motivation for people within that group to share it with their peers. The other factor, which is a distant second in this case, 30% indicated that they found out about offers and deals through print media and newspapers. And lastly, 24% indicated they heard it from company brands, website, or email. So when reaching out to this group, thinking about how you can tap into these different channels and most specifically tap into their network. All right, so now let's switch gears and go from looking at data to discussing some of the best practices. So the first technique we recommend is to build a promotion that is exclusively available for the military. So if you're not familiar with this technique, I thought it would be valuable just to provide a quick definition of what an exclusive offer is. And we call it a gated exclusive offer. And these are promotions that are designed to target members of a particular group based off of their occupation, in this case, the military. Their life stage could be somebody that's a senior or a student or their affiliation. Now, let's take a look at what a gated offer promotion looks like and break down what makes it truly exclusive. It's not just the messaging. What makes an exclusive offer truly exclusive is actually verifying eligibility of your target segment. In a survey that we did last year, we found that more than half of people, of consumers, said that verifying eligibility increases their trust with their brand. They're actually looking for the brand to actually back up their words that it is exclusive by demonstrating that they are actually taking measures to determine eligibility to receive the offer. And in this case, here we're looking at the offer page of American Giant, an innovative fashion retailer, and they are asking the military to verify eligibility on their promotion landing page. So that's a big part of what this page serves. The other important thing to note about the offer page, in addition to being a great destination for your paid campaigns, a landing page properly constructed will also serve as a strong driver for organic search traffic. So our customers have reported that organic search is typically the #1 performance-based marketing channel, followed by email and affiliate networks. So it's important as you're building this page that you're building it with SEO in mind. So now let's take a look at the verification process or form, which is determining eligibility, and again, making the exclusive offer truly exclusive. So once a military member clicks through, they are presented with this form to fill out that asks them a few very easy to provide pieces of information that we check in a matter of milliseconds to verify eligibility. So we have done a lot of research on this form, and we have worked very hard to make this as simple and streamlined as possible. We found that it's important to keep it simple and not ask for any privacy-sensitive information like social security number, as that can be a deterrent from filling out the form. Instead, in our case, all you need to verify eligibility are data elements such as your first and last name, military branch, and your date of birth. And putting this in place drives success for a number of different reasons. So an exclusive offer tends to work because A, it's personal. It recognizes something that is that the person strongly identifies with. Like in this case, they are a servicewoman or man that is serving their country. That is a strong, powerful experience that creates a shared identity. The second piece, because it is a shared identity, it is also heavily shared. People share the offer with other people in their group or tribe very liberally. In fact, in our recent military survey, 84% of military members said they share an offer with other people in the military. And because it's exclusive, because it's limited to a specific group and for a specific time, it drives urgency. Typically, we see conversion rates that are 3 times higher than a typical promotion with these types of offers. We also ask consumers in a separate study their attitude towards gated offers, trying to understand at a deeper level what impact it has on their purchasing decisions. And 94% said a gated exclusive offer would get them to try a brand for the first time. 82% said it would increase how often they shopped with a brand, and 40% said that it would increase how much they plan to spend with a brand. So again, very powerful emotional factors that drive increase intent and drive action. All right, now let's take a look at the second best practice to keep in mind, which is taking a look at the key demographics to consider as you're building your program. What type of imagery that you want to include? What type of messaging do you want to include to resonate with the intended audience? When we think of the armed forces, we may think of somebody that is white, is active duty, and probably a man. While this is certainly an important segment, there are also numerous additional groups to connect with to represent in your messaging. Firstly, women are a fast-growing contingent in the armed forces. Over the last 30 years, the amount of service women in the military has grown fourfold and now makes up 15% of the armed forces. In addition, minorities make up a large segment as well, accounting for 40% of the military population, much higher than the standard population. So it's important to take this into consideration. And 56% of military personnel have a spouse or family. So those are all important things to keep in mind. The other important thing to keep in mind is that while you may think that somebody in the military is going to skew younger, and that's certainly true with active duty military, the typical age is 28 and a half years of age, it's also important to remember that the average age of veterans is 58 years of age. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a much bigger group in the military community with 18 million members. So that's an important piece to take into consideration. So now, as we look at the next best practice, looking at messaging and keeping in mind those demographic components that we just talked about, when we see successful campaigns, when we analyze campaigns and see the factors that drive success, we typically see two primary components that drive success. The first is the campaigns speak to the dedication and service that the men and women of the military provide to their country and community. They talk about giving back. They talk about saluting the military. They talk about honoring the military as the Lowe's campaign does, and saluting the military as the Sprint campaign does. As we talked about earlier, exclusive offers provide that opportunity to naturally connect with a group on that level. And we see successful campaigns really highlight that type of messaging in their program. The second thing they do is they do talk about the discount. Of course, the discount is a big motivator, or the offer, whatever that might be. Doesn't necessarily always have to be a discount. It could be access to different buying events or customer service events. But of course, discounts do work really well. And in this case, the Lowe's campaign really makes the discount front and center. And you can notice here that it doesn't necessarily have to be a large discount. It just has to be meaningful, particularly based off of what your retail strategy is. So in this case for Lowe's, a 10% discount, everyday discount, is very meaningful. And they do a really great job of making it very clear how they are connecting with the military community with this type of promotion. I also wanted to bring up T-Mobile. And T-Mobile, they have a very interesting program where in addition to the discount, they also made a very large commitment where they indicated that they were going to fill 10,000 jobs for veterans as part of this program, as well as producing specific grants and aid to different veteran causes. So this is a great example of how a brand can make a deeper connection with the military by going beyond just the discount and really standing behind the community in more ways than just the promotion. And this has had a dramatic effect. In fact, the president of T-Mobile recently said in their recent earnings call that the programs that they ran that were segment specific, of which the military program is a part of, was a key reason why they had great recent financial performance. And we've seen from other brands that these types of promotions, in addition to driving revenue, also have a huge benefit in terms of the brand value and customer satisfaction that is represented back into the brand with higher NPS scores. So the fourth piece is around leveraging the power of word of mouth. And I mentioned earlier that social, or in other words, the sharing component of an exclusive offer is so powerful because in essence, you are speaking specifically to a group, you're providing an offer that is just available for that group, which creates a lot of motivation for members in that group to share it with others in that group. In fact, more than 80% of people within a specific group indicate that they typically share it with their other members in the group and even friends and family. That type of goodwill is easily extended. And so here we can see an example of a social program that Vineyard Vines provided for Veterans Day, where they have a Facebook promotion as well as an Instagram promotion. And these are vital ways in which you can activate that word of mouth activity for your specific program. Here are a number of tags that you can use within Instagram or Twitter, or different channels that you can connect into that we found to be very effective in working with brands. So take a look at those, do some research on your own, see which ones you want to connect with. Don't worry about writing all these down, because as Kelly mentioned, we're going to be sharing that with you afterwards. And we also have a best practice guide that talks about this in more detail. So look for those types of collateral if you have interest in that. Now, the fifth piece is around getting seasonal. And often there is a question of when is the best time to run these types of promotions. We've put together a calendar that highlights the best time of year for a number of key segments. So for the military, May, next month, is a key segment or a key time of year coming up where we have Military Appreciation Month, which includes Memorial Day. And then the second time of year is with Veterans Day. So those provide two great opportunities for you to run specific campaigns. And you can run those campaigns across a couple of different paths. So the first approach is a one-time campaign, right? An acquisition-focused campaign that could be a campaign that's just run for Veterans Day or for the Military Appreciation Month, where you can provide a one-time offer for that seasonal event. And these, particularly if this is a new type of campaign to that group, is a great way to generate initial interest and drive results. The other type of program is an evergreen campaign. An evergreen campaign is a campaign that runs throughout the year. The Lowe's campaign is a great example. Where you have a deeper level of commitment with that audience, and you are creating an ongoing relationship that creates numerous purchase events throughout the year. Because it's always on, it provides a level of commitment back to the military audience that they then feel reciprocated in terms of how they are the service that they provided back to the community. Now, speaking of Lowe's, often a question I get is, how often should I communicate? Where should I communicate my offer? And which program should I use? I felt like the Lowe's campaign does a really great job, because what they've done is they've integrated the program into the My Lowe's card. And what that does is it makes it extremely easy for somebody that has proven their eligibility as a military member to make a purchase on any channel. So once I've been verified, that verification then gets attached to the My Lowe's card, and then as an individual, I can make a purchase online, I can make a purchase in store, or any of the other channels that Lowe's makes available. As we saw earlier, the form is very easy and simple to fill out. And once that form is completed, that data that this person is part of the military is entered into the My Lowe's database, which then fuels additional promotions through emails and other promotional campaigns. Lowe's does a great job of creating very specific exclusive offers to this community that drives members back into the store to pick up. It could be a freebie or it could be a special offer or deal that then turns into additional purchase events. They also promote it through some of their other distribution channels like their blog, and they also committed to a broadcast campaign really tying the My Lowe's brand or the Lowe's brand with the military community at large. And their results have been very successful. Ryan Fagan, who is the Director of Operations and Promotions at Lowe's, when he was running this program, he indicated that their engagement rate was 2 to 3 times higher than their next best program, really speaking to the power of running this exclusive offer and doing an integrated campaign that is meaningful for this community. The last piece is around engaging online. And earlier on, we talked about providing a landing page for your exclusive offer. But there's more to it than that. You can integrate these types of exclusive offers in multiple places throughout your digital presence. The first is including a link on the homepage. And by including something in the footer of the page, in addition to providing a dedicated place on every page on your website for these types of offers, it also creates valuable search engine optimization juice, because every link that points back into your landing page helps demonstrate the importance of that page. And as we pointed out, typically if you have a big brand, if you're a well-known brand, a brand that has very strong affinity with your customer base, people in the military or any other exclusive group, they are likely to type in your brand name and then military discount. And that's why it's so important to get this component right, to get that organic search traffic in the right direction. The second piece is on the opt-in form, and J.Crew does a really nice job here where they have a checkbox here where the person that fills out the form can indicate if they would like to be included in other communications down the road. A third, as Nike exhibited here, is in the product page. So oftentimes when somebody is actually in a purchase event or in a buying cycle, it's a great reminder to let them know that you have something specifically for them to get them to act now. And remember, because exclusive offers are an offer that typically is highly shared, this also has a viral component to it that can drive down your acquisition costs. So it's great to make these types of connections throughout your site. And then finally, promoting it on social channels, as we talked about earlier. So as you're building your program, consider all of these different placements on where you can promote your offer to make it easy to be found, to remind buyers in a purchase decision that you are speaking directly to them and you have a program just for them, and then enabling them to share it with other members in the group to help you drive acquisition costs down. Okay, so those are the 7 best practices. And a couple final thoughts before we move it over to questions. The final thought is recognizing that the military, it's good for the community, and good for your business. So it's very important to recognize this group. They've contributed a lot of their time and energy and dedication into supporting the country. So supporting them is reciprocated in kind. positive goodwill is something that you can use to tap into to the customer's tribe, tap into their group, tap into their tribe, so that that offer can get shared. The third piece is making sure, thinking about this program as an ongoing program. So there are clear benefits to doing a one-time promotion. In fact, we've had a customer recently that did a one-time promotion right after the holiday season for 5 days, and they had 7 figures in sales and added tens of thousands of new customers to file. So there's a lot of power there. But in addition, making it an evergreen promotion shows a deeper level of commitment that is ongoing and really can engender your brand with that community. And then finally, using exclusivity. Exclusivity drives action. You know, when you have an offer that is limited to a specific group, it really makes that group feel special, and it drives action for that community. So those are our final thoughts. And now, thanks for staying with us on the line. We'll turn it over to questions. Kelly, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Bill, so much for all of the insight. We are up at our time limit, but we have a few great questions that I want to address that I think if you can stay on, that'd be great. If not, like I said, I'll be sending out a link to the recording as well as a follow-up blog post to capture all of these questions. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the Q&A on the bottom of your screen. The first one is, you know, they said great examples of brands that are doing it right. Do you have any examples of something to not do? Like,
yeah, so that's a great question. What not to do? I think the main thing, one of the main factors that I think is so important in running a military campaign is really getting the messaging right and speaking directly to the audience and recognizing their service. So I think overly promoting the discount and making it just about the discount would be something that I think is not going to be received well. We've heard that from numerous customers as they've experimented with the program. The second piece is treating this as just a one and done program and leaving it on an island. You want to make this an integrated program that really is woven through your different marketing channels to help you get exposure. Because in addition to the revenue opportunity, you also want to show that it's a persistent component of the way that you're going to market and that you're really catering to that audience. So I think making sure that that's integrated and speaking to the service and dedication that group has shared are two important factors. So the opposite of those two things will be the things not to do.
Right. Perfect. Thanks, Bill. And one more question, and then we will wrap it up and let everyone go on their way. Have we seen any type of higher conversion rates versus like the one-time or the promotion around a specific holiday versus an evergreen military discount program?
Yeah, I think one-time promotions will likely produce higher conversion because of the limited time frame there. The thing to keep in mind there is that it is limited. So what we have found is that an evergreen promotion, as you saw with the Lowe's campaign, even though it's provided throughout the year, it still generates higher conversion rates across the board for similar types of campaigns. So think about that from those two different perspectives. If you're looking for really just a one-time spike, a one-time seasonal campaign can definitely serve that need. But I also believe, and we've seen, that evergreen ongoing programs, they don't lose their juice. They're not going to have the same type of spike that a one-time promotion has, but they still have strong performance across the year.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Bill. So we're going to wrap it up. Please, if you do have any additional questions, feel free to email me. I think you all have my emails from the webinar registration confirmation emails. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and look for an email follow-up from me with the slides and a recording to the presentation. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.